Here is a customer you are losing right now without ever knowing it. Someone finds your website, your menu, or your product page, and every word on it is in a language they only half read. They cannot quite tell what you sell, whether they can trust you, or whether you are even talking to people like them. So they close the tab and move on, and you never see them, and you quietly assume the demand was not there. But it was there. You simply were not speaking to them in a way that landed. Today, I want to show you how a small business can use AI to translate and localize its content. So the same shop, the same service, and the same offer suddenly make sense to a far wider set of customers. Before we start, one honest note. This is practical education, not a promise that the machine handles every language perfectly on its own. The AI does the heavy lifting of drafting and adapting, but for anything that matters, you still get a native speaker to check it before it goes live. Keep that in mind, and this becomes genuinely useful. The one language ceiling. Let us start with where most owners are stuck, and call it level 0. At level 0, your whole business speaks exactly one language, and that quietly puts a ceiling on who can ever buy from you. Every customer who is more comfortable in another tongue has to work harder to understand you, and most of them will simply not bother. The other version of level 0 is just as common. You paste your text into a free translator and copy back whatever it gives you, word for word. It is technically the right language, but it reads stiff and robotic, it gets local phrases wrong, and the real speaker can tell in one sentence that no human who actually talks that way was ever involved. So you either serve only one slice of your market, or you put out translations that make your business look careless. Neither one is a system, and both of them quietly leave money on the table. Translation is not localization. Level 1 starts with one distinction that changes everything, and it is the difference between translation and localization. Translation is swapping the words. Localization is making the whole thing feel like it was written for that reader in the first place. Think about what actually changes between markets. The level of formality, whether you address someone casually or with respect. The examples you reach for, a local dish instead of a foreign one. The currency, the date format, the units of measurement, the small idioms that make writing feel warm instead of imported. A word-for-word translation gets the language right and the feeling wrong. A localized version gets both, because it adapts the meaning, not just the vocabulary. This is exactly the kind of judgment AI is now surprisingly good at if you ask it properly. You are not asking it to convert words. You are asking it to rewrite your message the way a local would actually say it, who you can suddenly reach. So who does this open up for you? Look at where you actually are. In a place like Singapore, your customers might be more at home in Mandarin, Malay, or Tamil. And just across the region, there are enormous markets where English is not the first choice at all. Every one of those is a group of people who might happily buy from you if only your content spoke to them without friction. And this is not only about faraway countries. It is the neighbor 2 streets away, the customer who reads your reviews but hesitates at your English-only checkout page, the supplier who would far prefer a quote in their own language. For years, doing this properly meant hiring a translation agency, waiting weeks, and paying by the word, so most small businesses never bothered. That cost is what kept the door shut. When you can localize quickly and cheaply on your own computer, reaching these people stops being a big, expensive project and becomes something you simply do on a normal afternoon. The market was always bigger than the one language you happen to start in. The repeatable workflow. Now let me give you the actual workflow, because this is the part you can copy. It is 5 steps, and once you have run it once, every piece after that gets faster. Step 1. Pick what you are translating. One real asset, your top web page, your menu, or a key email. Step 2. Tell the AI who the reader is and what language and region you want, and ask it to localize, not just translate, while keeping your tone. Step 3. Ask it for a natural version a local would truly say, and have it flag anything it was unsure about or had to guess. Step 4. And this is the step people skip. You get a native speaker to read it, especially for anything about prices, promises, or safety. Step 5. You publish it where those customers will actually see it. Hit the asset, brief the AI, get a natural draft, have a human check it, publish. That is the whole loop, and it works the same for 1 page or 100. A worked example, let me make that concrete with a made-up example. Picture a small bakery and call the owner May. May is not a real person, just a stand-in for a lot of owners I speak to. May's website and order form are in English only, but half the aunties in her neighborhood would find it far easier in Mandarin. So she takes her homepage and her ordering instructions, hands them to the AI, and asks for a warm, friendly Mandarin version aimed at local home cooks, not a stiff textbook one. The AI drafts it and flags 2 phrases it was unsure about. May then sends the draft to a friend who is a native speaker who fixes one word that sounded oddly formal and swaps a cake name for the one people actually use locally. An afternoon later, her order form works in 2 languages, and within weeks she is taking orders from customers who would never have made it through the English-only version. That is level 1. Keeping it sounding native. Now the part that separates content people trust from content they quietly distrust, and that is whether it sounds native. The risk with any AI is that it produces language that is technically correct but subtly off, the tone a little too formal, an idiom translated literally, a phrase no real person would ever choose. Speakers notice instantly, and it makes your business feel like an outsider. So you do 2 things. First, you brief the AI properly before it drafts, tell it the region, the kind of customer, and how formal or casual you want to sound, and give it an example of your own writing to match. Second, you ask it to prefer everyday phrasing over dictionary perfect phrasing, the words people actually use out loud. The goal is not a translation that is merely correct. It is one that the local reads and never once thinks about the fact that it was translated at all. The native speaker check. Here is the one step I will ask you never to skip. Before anything important goes public, a real native speaker reads it. AI can be confidently wrong in a language you do not speak, and you will have no way of catching it yourself, so a human who actually speaks it is your safety net. This matters most for the things that carry risk, your prices, your guarantees, anything about health, safety, contracts, or legal terms. A translation error there is not just embarrassing, it can cost you a customer or worse. You do not need to hire a big agency for this. Often it is a bilingual staff member, a friend, or one freelancer for an hour. The AI gets you most of the way in minutes. That final check from someone who lives in the language every day is what makes it safe to publish. You do not have to localize everything at once, so start where it pays off most. The highest value items are usually the ones closest to a sale. Your main landing page, the page that explains what you do and why to trust you. Your product or menu pages, your checkout or booking steps, where confusion costs you the order directly, and your most common customer questions and replies. Do those first in the one language your biggest untapped group of customers speaks, and you will feel the difference before you have touched anything else. Leave the deep archive, the old blog posts, and the fine print for later or never. A good test is simple. Walk the path a new customer takes, from first landing on your page to placing an order, and localize every step along that path before you touch anything else. The point is not to become a fully multilingual company overnight. It is to remove the language barrier from the exact places where customers decide whether to buy. The honest limits. And because I promised no hype, here are the honest limits. AI translation is genuinely good now, but it is not flawless, and it does not know things you have not told it, like your brand names, your local slang, or the way your industry talks. It will occasionally produce something confidently wrong, which is exactly why the native check is not optional. Some content should not lean on AI alone at all. Anything legal, medical, or safety related deserves a professional translator, full stop. Rare languages and strong local dialects are weaker than the big ones, so results vary. And the machine cannot really feel whether a joke lands or a phrase offends in a particular culture, which again is what your human reviewer is for. Use it for reach and speed. Keep a real speaker in the loop, and it earns its place. Skip that, and you are shipping mistakes at scale. 3. Quick recap. Let me pull it together. Level 0 is a business that speaks one language and quietly turns away everyone who does not, or that posts stiff word-for-word translations that make it look careless. Level 1 is using AI to localize your content, not just translate it, so it reads the way a local would actually say it, and then having a native speaker check anything that matters before it goes out. The workflow is 5 steps. Pick the asset, brief the AI on the reader and regions, get a natural draft, have a human check it, and publish where those customers are. Start with the pages closest to a sale and always keep a real speaker in the loop. More languages, more customers, far less cost. If reaching customers in another language has always felt too expensive or too slow to bother with, this is the workflow that changes that. And we made a free step-by-step course that walks you from level 0 to level 1 in plain language, no jargon, and no technical background needed. It shows you how to get an AI assistant onto your own computer and working with your real material, so you can try this properly on your own pages instead of taking my word for it. Head to aifirstasia.com/level1 and take the free course. Do it once, localize one real page, and watch who starts showing up. And if you want more of this, practical AI workflows built for SME owners, honest and no hype, then subscribe. Level 1 is right there. Go take the step.